Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I'm a blue dot in a red state, utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. I really appreciate you being here, and welcome. The focus of today's reading are going to be these horrendous Medicaid cuts that, they're trying to pass. The Democrats have already they're not voting for it. So that, I don't even need to look at that. What I want to look at though is obviously the Republicans and the House and the Senate. The House is having a pretty hard time, and it's almost, from what I can tell in the reading, is like you've got these different sides. It's like some people are saying the cuts aren't horrendous enough, and others are like, no, they're way horrendous. They're too horrendous. And then you have let me fix that camera. And then on the Senate side, you kind of have people speaking out. Surprisingly, Josh Hawley is not for these cuts. So, as I said, that was surprising that he even wrote, the op-ed there. So, we'll see if he follows through. I notice there's a lot of outrage about things with the Republicans, over what Trump is doing, but then they never follow through with, actually telling him no. So that's kind of what I want to look at today. What is going to happen with those Medicaid cuts? And now, Trump's coming out saying, don't do these cuts. It's like, well, you can't have, they're blowing up the deficit. They're blowing up the deficit. And because of these tax cuts to the wealthy, like the uber rich, and so you can't, it's just going to blow up the deficit even more. And then you actually have fiscal, they call themselves fiscally responsible Republicans. And that's a problem too. So the Republicans they are not unified in this. And the Democrats are. So I am just curious about where that's going to go. Are they going to be making those just horrendous cuts? Okay. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only, and I am wanting to let's just start with a base reading into just these Medicaid cuts. What's this going to look like? And then, depending on that, we'll see about, dividing out into the House and the Senate. So this base reading on Medicare cuts. What is it that we need, or Medicaid cuts. What is this that we need to know about the Medicaid cuts? Okay, at the heart of this is the Nine of Cups, and this is the happiness card, and that really surprises me that would be in the middle of this. I also read this as drunk on power, so I want to get some more, cards out here to see kind of exactly what this card is going to be, and this also could be who you're going to make happy, your constituents or Trump. That's kind of where we're at right now with looking at this. The challenge, nobody's happy. Okay. And honestly, that's what a compromise is. Nobody's happy. But should be, you win a little, we win a little. But right now, the divide between the Republicans is pretty great whenever you've got people that are like, the cuts aren't horrendous enough versus the people that they're too horrendous. So yeah, this is where the Republicans are. Like, what are we going to do? Options. How are we going to make this work? How can we give Trump what he wants in this great big beautiful bill? But as AOC said, the math isn't adding up. This isn't working. You can't make these horrendous cuts to the budget and give the wealthy their tax cuts. You're going to have to choose. You're either choosing the billionaire class or you're choosing the working class. Okay, who are you going to choose? The past experiences they really thought this was going to be a brand new direction. And, they're finding that this is not something that people want. It is not popular. Okay. And if you notice the Fool is kind of looking to the past here. So I'm curious about what are these recent influences? I think, did they actually think that this was going to go easier? Because this is like, I'm almost going to say like the House and the Senate coming together to pass this, because this isn't two sides. There's no Democratic support for this. Okay. So they're not coming together with Democrats. This would be, the House and the Senate have to do this with just the Republican votes. And I don't know that this is going to be, I don't know that this is going to be as easy of a road for them, especially with that four there, because the four is, kind of like holding things up here. And then the potential, this is up in the air. Okay. So if we come back here and take this is the card of hesitation. Okay, not being happy with what's being what they're being presented with, and this is both of these sides of the Republican Party are not happy. Okay, so if we just take that card out and put it over here to the side, this right here is like, this looks like, yeah, they're gonna do it. This all is like, yeah, we're happy to do Trump's bidding. This is putting our country on a new path, but we can only do it with the Republican votes. We're working on it, and we've yet to see, we've yet to come to a compromise on how to make this work. And then with all of this, boom, the four of cups, and that's where the holdup is in this. So where is this going to go? Let me see. I think that now would be a good time for me to ask, what about the House? What's going, because that's really kind of where the bigger stuff is right now. So what about the House? Are they going to come to some agreement in the House? Oh, that was not a good shuffle. Okay, and with the House, things have yet to be seen. It's like behind the scenes betrayal. I think that I think that the House is going to pass this because of that betrayal card. Four of Swords. These are not good cards at all. This is betrayal and then laying in state. So this is really, I would love to say that this is the good news deck, to where this comes to an end for the people, but I don't think so. Let's see what else. State of suspension, waiting. They may put this off. I don't know if they even have the votes yet, but this is not looking good in the House. Things come to now. Maybe, I'm reading this wrong. Let's fingers crossed that this is absolutely, like, they know this queen or this high priestess, things, the negotiations behind closed doors are not going well, and that this is a betrayal to that great big beautiful bill that Trump wants, that they just come out and say, no, we are not doing this kind of betrayal to the people. Come up with something else. The hanged man will wait for something else. Okay. And Congress, controls the purse. Is this going to be for... Well, I just want to do 3 clarification cards here. What is this ending in betrayal? Is it betraying Trump, or is it betraying the people? Where is this betrayal coming in at? And the betrayal, moving forward, people rejoicing, and the grift here. I'm just taking a moment here with this. Let me see what's going to go on. Let me just ask, what about the Senate? Let's look at the Senate side. This is kind of, I'm feeling like this is kind of left, like, and Congress holds the purse. If they get something passed on the House side, this is, it's not something that happens just real quick. And I'm wondering if, like, moving past, like, the people rejoice because we've avoided this, but that 7 of Swords, that, or like maybe the cuts aren't as horrendous. Maybe that's what that is. Let me see what happens on the Senate side. Let me pull these over here. I'm going to come back to those. Okay. What's happening on the Senate side? Are they going to pass these horrendous cuts? On the Senate side, the messaging, this is going to be, and I typically see this as Democrats. They are putting up a fight. Okay. They are shedding light on this and what it's going to do to the people. This is a toxic bill. This is a horrendous bill. This is a bill that is not going to help the people, and it's going to have a hard time getting through on the Senate. Yeah. Finding that path of light. Like, how can we navigate this? This going within and finding a righteous path. Okay. That is not what this bill does. Okay. The recent influences are, we are a wealthy nation. Is this nation going to be, for the middle class or the oligarchs? Is it going to be for the 99% of the people, or is it going to be for, the 1%? And with I don't know that this is looking like it's going to have a much more difficult time getting passed in the Senate. Okay. And things are really still up in the air. If you notice back here, yeah, I got that 7 of Cups. These two cards are, very similar. As you got Major Arcana, Minor Arcana. And what's also interesting is the Senate, you got a lot of Major Arcana coming up here with this. I don't know that this is not going to pass as easily in the Senate. Okay. With the House, let me just say, will this bill overall pass, both House and Senate? Is it going to pass overall? They take a vote. The people are happy. I don't know that this is going to, it's not going to pass the first time. They don't have the votes, but then something comes to light and then there is like a vote. So what is this coming to light? And this just could be like, they pass something that's not as horrendous for the people. What is the Sun card? Oh, losing support. There it is. Yeah. The moderate Republicans know that if they vote for this, they've just lost their support of the people. And so they are going to be wanting to do, something else. So this is not going to be an easy thing for them to pass. Okay. There is a lot of opposition to it. There is a lot of, within the Republican Party. And as I said, you kind of got two different ends there. You got, it's not horrendous enough, it doesn't make enough cuts, and it's too horrendous, and we're never going to, we will never be reelected again. And something, this is going to be something in another reading, but I do want to kind of point it out here that if you watched the last time Rachel Maddow was on Stephen Colbert, and that was like, I don't know, last week or two, depending on when this video comes out. And Colbert said to Rachel, they're acting like there's not going to be any more elections. The administration is acting like there's not going to be any more elections. And she was like, yeah, that's exactly how they're acting. And so it's like, if they make these horrendous cuts, that makes me question more so about kind of like the stability of of the future of our country. So that is another reading that I will do down the road. But with this right here, I'm not getting a real strong attachment to those horrendous cuts. I think there's going to be enough pushback. Now, are there going to be cuts? I think there are. Okay. I think there are going to be cuts. What those look like, and the card said, when you get the Moon card and the 7 of Cups kind of as those end cards, it's like, that's not really why I'm asking. I'm kind of doing tarot to get past that. And what those were saying as those final outcome cards are, it's crapshoot. What are they going to do on that day? And I'm kind of wondering if there's not going to be something else in the news or something else that comes up that kind of puts this vote off. Because right now I don't think that it would pass. I don't know that it would pass the Senate. It definitely showed it's going to have a much harder time passing in the Senate. So it's something that I will keep watching and keep looking at, and will absolutely do follow-up readings on those. So thank you for joining me. I will put subscribe and some other videos here for you to watch, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a great day.